Hello everyone and welcome back to Bricks and Dragons. Today we have Figure Friday and we are looking at Echo. So, we first got Echo from the Clone Wars and they kind of put him into the Bad Batch as a kind of fifth character. The nice thing is spoilers for anyone that hasn't watched all of the Bad Batch. He is one of the ones that made it. I was kind of hoping that they would bring some of the others that possibly didn't make it. It's always one of those things. It was a very good series. I did enjoy it. Always kind of interesting to see how they kind of do it. And I think Filoni does a pretty good job for trying to keep all the things that George Lucas had kind of started. I think he's done a very good job at trying to continue on. So here we have Echo. Taking a look in the back here, so we have, and I'll kind of read this out for us. Echo was a soldier for the Grand Army of the Republic, known for his strict adherence to orders and rules. Hence his nickname, which was sarcastically gifted to him by his clone brothers. Echo. Oops, that's a different language. That's not going to do me. Okay, so really it's just I can't read all the other languages here. Unfortunately, I'm just kind of illiterate in other languages. But yeah, it's very interesting to see him. Later on, and I don't know if there's going to be something in here. He had actually taken a hand off of a droid, and he had kind of put it on. And I thought that was a very interesting thing that he had done, and I kind of wondered about that. If he had a hand, something similar to this, which is really just a data receptor that we first saw in R2-D2 in The Empire Strikes Back. My mind is kind of having a hard time trying to catch up with my tongue here this evening. All right, so get the crinkles going. If I can get him out of here. Okay. And he has a blaster pistol. We'll get to see what all that is. And of course, then we have his helmet. Now, Echo being a regular clone, he was not originally set up this way. He was a standard clone that had been captured by the Separatists. And they kind of experimented on him. So henceforth, they had kind of ripped off his hand. They put the attachment on here, and then they have the cybernetic implant on the back here. Very similar to that of what you see on... Oh, shoot, my mind is having a hard time here. In The Empire Strikes Back, we do have Lobot, which has a very similar prosthetic on there. Now, these were very expensive to put on in the game, and that's the closest that we really get as to how that all works out. And then we can go into Lobot himself later on as to how he got it and everything else. But these were not cheap. These were usually something that was given to someone that was more or less indentured servitude. So, and it was expected you're going to be kind of there for a very long time. So, looking him over, he does have a kind of skirt setup here with some pockets on here, all the different tech stuff. He does have a holster here. So he has a standard clone pistol, and it does fit on there. And of course, they're going to have it on his remaining hand side, so that way he can reach down and grab it. I don't know what we have in these pockets. I don't really remember seeing him having this. Either I was just blind and I didn't see it in watching the cartoon, or maybe it's just some extra leeway that they had been given to do that, kind of help give him a little bit of a unique look to himself. Looking at the arms, we only have the single joint. No, there is a double joint in there. So there is an extra joint in there, so we can kind of pull that back a little bit. His armor's kind of in the way here, so He can't go too far back or too far forward, but he does have a little extra joint in there. So that's kind of nice to see. So we can kind of pivot the arm a little bit more. Alright, looking at his feet, we have front and back. Yep, we do have the side to side, so that is kind of nice. And we do have a twist here right below the knee, so that's kind of nice to see there as well. Now his armor, and with this kind of skirt flange there, his leg does not want to really, it kicks out kind of like a Kenner, like the old Kenner. It doesn't want to kind of kick out like a lot of the newer ones. So then you might want to twist that and then pull down. Looking at his knee, it looks like he's only got the one single joint, where a lot of them have a double joint here, so you can really kind of swing that around. He's only got a single joint here, but he's got all that armor on there. So with that being the case, it kind of makes some sense. Let's see, of course we can kind of twist the torso, and you can see that twisting right in there underneath. And he doesn't have any shoulder straps that kind of keep him from being able to twist there. Now we have our standard hand joint here, and of course we can swivel here at the elbow, and we can go up and down there, and of course we have our full range of motion with that double joint in there. So that's really neat. Now on this side, because it's all a robotic arm here, so I don't know what. Okay, so it does move here right above the arm, so it kind of moves there, and then up and down, and that's all we really get. Now the nice thing is if you've watched the show, you can plug this in, although it is interesting because I want to see it kind of like this. When I'm looking at this, and keep in mind this is my mind, if I remember correctly, when R2-D2 was going in, the arm he had was not squared off like that. And then he had a very thin one, which was a electrical receptacle arm. So he had like 3 different arms, and this one I thought shot out a little bit and was round, not squared off. But then when they did the Clone Wars, they had it squared off, and it worked. So take it for what it is. It's just my mind having fun with it. Do whatever you want. I mean, it's all a nice fantasy, so we can do it. It's just the silliness of my mind. Okay, so let's try and get the helmet on here. That gets a little trickier, and it is interesting because it's got to fit around everything else here, and I'm off a little there. I feel like I'm trying to put the helmet on. RoboCop, because he kind of had something somewhere back there. Alright, and then this is supposed to kind of clasp back here, but I'm having a little bit of a Dickens trying to get that to want to work here. Now I think I got it, I think. And if it doesn't, it's not going to be the end of the world. He looks good with it on. We're good. Now this is the second print of this, so this is them more as mercenaries being the gray instead of being the white. When they first started off, they were all white, like all the other Republic troopers. We do have his backpack, and of course he's got more communications on here, so he does work very well as a communications officer. Not like Tech, who is more of a programming slash tech specialist. Echo really becomes more of like a communications officer, and he kind of plays that out. Now we do have this extra arm piece that we get to add in here, and that's about all it really goes. And then he's got this on there, so I don't know what. There again, I don't really remember seeing him having this on here. Now maybe I'm just, maybe when he had it on there I was kind of drawn away at the time or something, but yeah. Trying to think if Maybe I do kind of remember. I don't know. I watched it, but for whatever reason, I cannot remember him having that on. Now, maybe it was in one of the seasons, and I just can't remember. But I just don't remember him having this on there. I do know that he's put a couple different augmentations on there, and in the very end of the Bad Batch series, he did grab a droid hand, and he was able to do that. But otherwise, very nice looking figure. And of course, we got kind of the Bad Batch skull symbol on there. Very nice paint job as far as I'm concerned. Works out really nicely. Has a he does have a little bit of a robotic look to him, to me. The way the armor sits and all that, but there again, they kind of use that look to kind of aid themselves, because I do remember they technically sold him off as a droid, and then he stopped playing a droid because he put on like a droid hat or something like that. Or maybe he even kept his helmet on and he just kind of acted more like a droid. He was not fond of that, but he played it off. He does have that very nice pale look from after having everything done to him compared to the others, because he was kind of showing that he's more cybernetic than he was before. I guess in some ways almost like a Star Trek Borg drone in that regard. So, alright, but here's Echo, another great addition to our collection here. And I can set this on top. Alright, so all in all, it looks very nice, very happy to have them. I don't know, I think I got him off of Amazon. I don't remember the price. I do believe he was marked down because he's been out for a little while. I'm sure a lot of other people have gone through it as well. But, you know, it's fun going through the figures, and instead of just kind of opening them up and seeing them. And, of course, I got to stash them here and there or whatever else. It's nice to be able to show them off and say, hey, you know, for those that are on the fence of getting them or not, is this something you'd be interested in or not? Or maybe you wanted to get a different version of them. Like I said, this is the second one that I know of. The one with the white armor in that, I think, is going to go for a little bit more. But unfortunately, I got them on the cheaper side. And, you know, it works for me. Having the group, and then last time I believe we had Omega. So I do have the whole group. I haven't gotten them all unboxed. We will get to them eventually. But here we are. And I'm just kind of, whatever figures I can kind of get locally, or things really stick out, then I'll try and get them so we can bring them forward, so that way hopefully you guys can see them. But with that being said, thank you so very much for joining me. Thanks for sitting around the pool table. We'll see you in the next video.